Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sony Online Entertainment booth for Planetside 2, the free-to-play, massively multiplayer online first-person shooter, and also welcome to everyone who's tuned in on the Twitch TV live stream. My name is Totalbiscuit. I had some very cruel parents. I'm sorry for that, and I'm joined by the wonderful Krohn. Welcome to the show.
Hey, hi. Thanks for joining us.
Should be a lot of fun. We're going to be showcasing an awful lot of Planetside 2 for you today. You've heard about how massive this game actually is. You haven't really had the chance to see that in person. And what we have here at our booth at E3 is 12 stations where you can actually come up and play if you happen to be at the event, as well as quite a few more, let's just say, behind-the-scenes troopers that will be adding to the fight.
Yeah, we actually have our Klegger back there, and he's going to be interviewing some people after, so you guys will get to hear some of that also.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We'll be able to switch through 12 different stations to show you the action from all three perspectives. Planetside 2 is a 3-faction game. 2's a little bit boring. Like to throw a wild card in there. We've got the new conglomerate in the blue and yellow. So prime targets for those of you who happen to be playing Terran Republic in the red and black, as well as last but by no means least the Vanu Sovereignty in the kind of purple and teal.
Yeah, representing right here.
Doing it properly. We'll have Clegg on a little bit later on, who has also brought along his wonderful, wonderful NC colours. So, nice target painted on his head as far as I'm concerned.
I think we can both agree with that.
We can, yeah. There's going to be a good dynamic here. We can both unite and bond over our hatred of the new conglomerate.
Definitely. So hopefully a lot of those guys die.
Indeed. Planetside's always been about factional rivalries, and anyone that played the original Planetside, which came out in 2003, which was the first massively multiplayer online first-person shooter brought to you by Sony Online Entertainment, can, I think, relate to the whole faction rivalry thing. It was a huge deal. People really got behind the factions they were playing. They all had different weapons, different vehicles available, different colors, and different ideologies.
Yep. And also we're changing it up too, so every faction feels different.
Yeah.
You get that different feeling for every faction.
Yeah, you really do, actually. There's a large number of different weapons this time around at the disposal of the various different factions. In the original game, there weren't so many. You had a heavy assault weapon, you had a medium assault weapon, which was faction-specific, but an awful lot of other things were available as part of the so-called common pool of weapons. We'll be seeing a lot of different weapon models and vehicles today. I think it's about time we switch in and show some people some gameplay. We're going to show you from the perspective of the Vanu Sovereignty. We're going to go and have a look at the Mag Rider tank, one of our attendees is currently driving. Now the Mag Rider tank, rather futuristic, one of the most futuristic vehicles currently available.
He's shooting a friendly.
Yeah,
That's not good.
The friend or foe recognition system for the Mag Rider tank just a little bit broken at the moment. So we have a little bit of purple on purple action, which I'm totally fine with as a Terran Republic loyalist. Now these are the Vanu Sovereignty's tanks. They have a hover capability, makes them rather maneuverable. They're still a rather large target, but they can actually float over water, and they can get over some pretty difficult terrain. They also have the ability to strafe, which is something the other two tanks can't do.
And this guy apparently really wants to kill his friends.
You know, I'm alright with that. It's we do have several Terran Republic infiltrators in the Vanu Sovereignty at the moment who are capable of doing this. Kind of sleeper agents that would like to spring upon people.
He's going the scenic route to get to the base, apparently, also.
Nothing wrong with going the scenic route in Planetside. It's a very, very good-looking game, and surprisingly to many of you, I would imagine, is actually going to be free-to-play.
Yes, Planetside is free-to-play. It's a free-to-play MMO FPS.
So we're going to see a little bit of air action as our Vanu Sovereignty Heavy Assault Trooper decides to get out of position. You can see either, I think at this distance, it looks like it might be a Galaxy, actually.
I think it's a Liberator.
Yeah, they do look quite similar, but at a distance, it's a little bit difficult to tell. The Galaxy is a massive dropship. You can fit an entire squad. The crazy thing about the Galaxy is you can fit a number of people that would be on a traditional FPS team inside a single vehicle.
That's true. And also, if you get a kill on one of those things, it's a huge kill spam for you.
Ching ching, if you like your experience. The other thing you do with Mag Riders is drive them over your friendly troopers. It's actually quite convenient. Well, you would be surprised.
We close in on victory.
Yeah, and as he was talking about the Galaxy and the Liberator, those are both our support vehicles, and they're basically all of the factions get those. It's not just one faction.
Yeah, at the moment though, we do see a faction-specific air battle going on. I believe that was a Mosquito flying over in that direction.
You just switch to the top turret, so we have that also, so you can switch guns. If no one's in that other seat, you can switch to it. And he's using the AV weapon, or AA. And so,
Yeah, it's never a particularly good idea to try and shoot down aircraft with tank shells, but you'd be surprised how many times we've seen that successfully happen.
I'm not getting any audio.
The bombing strategy is taken the facility.
Were you at the beginning or not now?
But we're in the cockpit of a new conglomerate Reaver, the
yeah.
faction-specific aircraft. You see, I've never been a big fan of the Reaver. It was a big boxy aircraft being actually used to shoot down a Terran Republic aircraft there. Looks like he's actually being pursued as well.
I always liked the Reaver.
Yeah, the Reaver was always the bane of my life. It was the bane of my existence. Incredibly difficult to deal with. It was a very useful ground attack
I just
aircraft.
liked smothering the ground with rockets.
That's exactly what it was good at, without question.
Large incoming to capture point B. Defend at all costs.
I'm going to switch over to a different view now.
Ooh, this is a Max.
Ah, yeah. So what we've got here is a Max unit. This is a large armored exosuit, the largest currently available in the game. You'll be able to walk around this as an actual class.
And as you can see, he can't hack the terminal. That's why he didn't change it, so it's still owned by the TR at the moment.
Yeah, it's not an especially good idea to run in front of a Max unit like that. Things tend to get a little bit messy. Max units are very tough to take down, but they do lack maneuverability. They're very, very large targets.
And they can't hack terminals.
Yes, they can't do that either. At the moment, our players are actually fighting over the Zervan Amp Station. It's going to be the centerpiece for this particular demo. And in this case, you have to actually hack various terminals in order to take control of the facility, which gives you the ability to spawn within it. Very useful tactical.
I think he's looking for some people to kill.
Certainly a consideration. Now, the aim of the game itself is to actually take over as much territory as possible. So, in this case, this is just a single facility. There are entire continents worth of these.
Oh, get owned by...
Oh, I'd say unfortunately our NC Max unit's been taken down there, but there you go. Now, this game does not have your traditional kill cam. It was felt by a lot of ex-players as well as current players at various FPS that the kill cam gives away too much. It gives away the position. It's a little bit cheesy, a lot of people were saying.
Well, we had originally tried out a kill cam. I mean, as designers, we are definitely open to listening to the public, and I think that's a big thing for us. So, you know, they were expressing their hate for it, so we kind of tried to go for a more still version and still let you, you know, see what you got killed by, and actually supplying you with a lot more data than previously.
That is very, very true. Now, currently driving around in a Lightning tank. This is a small one-person vehicle. It's very fast, very maneuverable, got quite a lot of firepower, but it was known in the first game as the paper tank, and there was a reason for that. That's essentially what its armor is made from.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot more maneuverable, but it's also a little squishier than, you know, your normal
Very much so.
battle tanks.
Yeah, this is a game about combined arms, it's a game about teamwork, so obviously the Lightning does have a role, but the larger main battle tanks can take far more people. You can actually get 2 people in a main battle tank. And there are even larger ground vehicles. The Sunderer, for instance, can actually fit an entire squad.
Yep, the Sunderer is also one of our support vehicles. So we have the Sunderer, the Galaxy, the Liberator, and all of them supply different things in the battlefield.
You can see the Lightning currently zipping around
You can
trying
also
to
see his
find some targets.
customization too. He's got the zebra.
Yeah. So that's something that's worth talking about, really. The free-to-play model of Planetside 2 is based around the idea that you can look the way that you want to.
Yeah.
You can buy a lot of different customizations, whether it be for your soldier or whether it be for individual vehicles. Seems like he's managed to run over a Vanu Max that had a nice desert camo on there, and he's driving around with a zebra camo. Not all that useful for hiding yourself, I have to say.
Well, the desert camo wouldn't be too bad with the desert.
Yeah, it would be okay. But the idea of Planetside, in terms of its lore aspect, is that they discovered technology which allows for the storage of DNA and the infinite respawn of troops. So then our troops aren't really all that concerned about hiding. Lightning Tank just continuing to move around here, trying to find himself some targets. I'm going to switch over to a Terran Republic view.
Leave the restricted area immediately.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a Mosquito in flight in third person. You get a bit of a more sense of scale here as to what's actually going on. This is actually a relatively small air battle in comparison to what the game's going to be able to bring. But it's still much larger than most traditional FPS. Even in a 64-player setup with various popular FPS games, you maybe see 1 or 2 aircraft in the sky. In this case, you can see about 8 or 9. And we are talking hundreds here in terms of how many will actually be able to come on display.
Well, the battlefield allows for thousands, so unlike any other 64 by 64 map, you're actually going against thousands of people on a map. So it's one of the cool things about our game. And also it's persistent, so as you can see there's no match ending, so you're actually playing the game full on all the time. It never ends, unless you decide to stop playing.
Yeah, and the thing is when you log back in, you can also get right back into the fight that you were involved in several hours ago. And of course it's going to have changed, yeah. It's fairly rare to find a game that actually provides that. That's why the MMO model is something I suppose that a lot of developers have been chasing for a while in terms of FPS, but the technology just hasn't been there yet. Now, as you can see, you finally have the capability to do that.
You really get a good view of the whole base too, flying around it.
Yeah, the base is very, very large, and each individual base is the size of a traditional FPS map, but there are many outposts and towers throughout the continent that provide smaller combat experiences, focusing more on infantry warfare, and even the lay of the land is going to be fairly important in how you approach.
Yeah, definitely. So there are going to be some areas where you want to maybe pull out old tanks, or maybe only take aircraft in there. So it all depends on what's going on in the battlefield at the moment and where you're at. And yeah, using the terrain to your advantage is always good. I mean, earlier we saw someone basically sniping and shooting on top of the towers, and like that is one of the best ways to see the whole battlefield. Yeah,
the view distance is fairly impressive to say the least. You've got a lot of different angles that you can approach any kind of engagement. It's not just a case of driving in the front door. More often than not, you'll see a wide variety of ways to actually attack a base.
Yeah, so strategy is going to play a big role in this game also. I mean, if anyone has played the original Planetside, they would understand that as well, so...
Yep, Sally Dango's the Mosquito. You have to expect to die in this game. You've got hundreds upon hundreds of players on every team, so you're going to be a target for somebody.
So rolling in groups is always good.
Yeah, I mean, this is what the game is kind of designed around, the idea of outfit play, and outfit is more of your traditional guild.
As you can see, he's actually purchasing a vehicle right there, and you saw like those numbers underneath. That is the resource management, so you kind of get more resources the more you capture bases and whatnot, and that's what you're actually spending your resources on. So you gotta kill people to get some vehicles, but you can also gun someone else's if you're not.
Yeah, if you run out of resources, it's not the end of the world. You can take up a transport position in various other vehicles. Galaxies can hold entire squads, Sunderers can hold entire squads, so it's not really a case of everyone needing their own individual vehicle. More often than not, it's not the best idea, because at the end of the day, if you have a large convoy, you're very, very vulnerable to, say, an airstrike, for instance, that would come over large liberated gunships, Reavers, Mosquitoes, sites actually coming down and strafing the convoy in the way that you've got to think about logistics in the same way that you would in an actual war, rather than your more traditional FPS model of, oh, there's a vehicle there, I'm just going to jump in it, that's the best way to deal with it.
Yeah, what you see this guy doing while he's like jumping in the air like that, he's a light assault, so he actually has jump jets.
Yeah. That was something that was a feature of Planetside 1 on the Max for the Vanu Sovereignty. That's now an entire class here. The Light Assault will be able to jump over walls. That's just another way of actually attacking a facility or a tower or outpost in this game.
So he's going to find some enemies. He's actually using a thermal scope right there.
Interesting choice. Night Warfare is not something we'll be able to show you just yet, but hopefully we'll get a chance to do that during this demonstration. Night Warfare is a big deal. Nights get really dark. You're going to see a lot of tracer fire, you're going to see the use of headlights and searchlights, and of course thermal imaging. In this case, thermal imaging, not so useful.
Yep, it's a full day and night schedule, so you'll be able to see both, and night combat's really nice, and seeing all the tracers is so pretty.
It very much is, yeah, actually. The build that you're seeing now has had some fairly significant improvements in terms of lighting that we will hopefully be able to demonstrate for you. Well, he's biting off a little bit more than they could chew there, I feel.
getting some good shots on this map.
Yeah, things are about to get very unpleasant for him,
Ooh,
I feel.
got it,
Oh, very
too.
nice, very nice.
Very good.
Well done. Well, there's the
What
strength
you're
of the
seeing
Terran
him put down
Republic in
is an
action.
ammo pack. Okay. Oops, there's a grenade. Oh, I need to...
That's not what you want to run into. That's not a very good idea. You can take a few hits in this. At the end of the day, you are in a fairly heavy piece of futuristic battle armor, but that also means the weapons are more powerful too, so that's something to consider.
And grenades aren't on every class. You kind of have to... Well, I mean, you have to buy them with resources.
Yeah.
So that's another thing too, so you probably want to spend those wisely. Here, we're actually giving them to people for free, so they can just toss them everywhere, but when you have those, you're actually going to want to use them really wisely.
Yeah. You did see some max units going up to the
Gonna go
vehicle,
straight
so that is... No! That's not a good place to
I
go.
was like, don't go, no.
The resources are actually hidden inside the cliffs. They're trying desperately to mine them.
I know we were saying earlier how we would like to see the kill death ratio for the mountains.
Bad. Let's go with bad.
Someone's getting shot at.
Once again, a different set of sights on this particular weapon here. You can essentially unlock a large number of different sights and pick the ones that are more suitable to your playstyle.
Rise to the moment, you can prevail.
In this case, he's using a kind of a futuristic ACOG style. Gets a little bit of zoom in, but seems like his weapon's not quite up to par against the mighty Mudkips.
He was also not aiming very well.
Not especially. I tend to find it helps if you aim at the opponent rather than above them.
And as you can see, these are some of our vehicles, and he's trying to figure out, let's go through all our UI.
Yeah, it's a good time to have a look at that, actually. Picking vehicles is fairly simple. You end up going to a terminal to spawn them, but you can check them out at any time and actually customize your loadouts.
Yeah, and as you can see, he has a loadout customization there, certification. So also you can customize your class with certifications, and that's how you get new weapons, and you can upgrade them and change them to however you want.
It's a nice little view that we just caught there of the battle map, which is very much hex-based. You can capture different hexes, which give you... It gives the impression of the front line, I suppose. When you see the hexes, it's obvious where the fighting is going on. You want to continue to push your territory ownership forward, and that's the way you're going to be able to do it.
Yeah, and it doesn't stop you from taking a base that's further in the back, but we do make the time longer and stuff like that. So
it's more difficult.
It's beneficial for you to actually go to the front line and fight there.
And that's where the large battles will, of course, be found.
But if you're tactical and you're really skilled, you can probably pull off some crazy stuff.
Oh, without question. Margaret rolling once again here for the Vanu Sovereignty. Big tank. Rather unwieldy tank. Unfortunately, he doesn't actually have a gunner here for anti-aircraft, which could be a bit problematic for him. There are a few aircraft up in the air.
I think he's just looking for somebody to
Well, that was one of the aircraft. At least a piece of it.
Oh, is Plague driving that?
It could be. It
The
could
galaxy there is falling.
Ah, they've actually managed to locate a Prowler up on the hill by the looks of it.
Oh, nice.
That's unfortunate for the Prowler.
And the Prowler's in its secondary gun, so he wasn't even the main gun.
Yeah, that's not a good idea. He was looking to hopefully get some hits off there. But in this case, the original Planetside, being a fairly old game, did not actually have access to locational damage for tanks. In this case, obviously hitting the rear armor of a tank is preferable to hitting the front.
We have the same thing with infantry too, so you actually can get headshots. In the original Planetside, you didn't have that.
Yeah, that was not available. At the end of the day, the technology just kind of wasn't at that stage. But it is now, as you can see.
It's very gratifying too when you see that headshot.
Yeah, you know what else is gratifying? Running over a max unit.
I know, he should have ran him over.
That works too. We'll hop over to a quick interview with one of the people who's just got the chance to actually play the game, so you can hear firsthand rather than just hearing us hype the game up. So we're just going to hop over right now to Mr. Adam Clegg. Take it away.
Hi, how's it going? How you doing? I'm here with Chad. How you doing, Chad? Doing well. Good. He just started playing Planetside 2 a few minutes ago, and what did you think about the game?
So far, I'm most impressed by the massive scale.
You like the scale? Yeah, there hasn't been a game like this that has been this big, so that's a good thing that you're impressed with. What is your favorite thing about games like these?
First-person shooters.
Yeah, you told me you're a big fanboy about first-person shooters, this type of game. What do you like most about playing these types of games?
I would say probably kind of the teamwork involved, especially like for most first-person shooters, you don't really get like the large-scale scale planning. It's more like team-based.
So I saw you were playing New Conglomerate, which is my favorite faction. That's the best faction, so don't worry, you're doing a good job. Cool. So thanks for talking with us, and look forward to seeing you on the battlefield.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much, Clegg, and welcome back to the stream. We'll be doing this for quite some time. I actually just want to switch back in the game because someone's about to have a really bad day over here.
Oh yeah. And he's not even locking on. Oh, there he's locked on now. But
I don't think in that position you really have to lock on.
on.
At present, in the current build of the game, all three factions do have a rocket launcher with a rudimentary lock-on mechanism, but can you tell us a little bit more about the kind of diversity that we're going to be seeing in weapons as the build continues to grow and actually get advanced to the beta stage?
Yeah, so for every class, we're going to have multiple weapons. So you're not just going to have one rocket launcher, right? There's going to be a variety. And on top of that, you can customize them. So you can change the optics, you can change the utilities on them, and then you can certify them for other things that you can trade off. So actually, we're going through that right now. So there are a lot of customizations. These are just some that we're showing today, but as you level up, you'll get some more.
Absolutely. That is a Spectre sniper rifle.
Yep. Infiltrators are pretty awesome. They also get special ability. Well, every class gets a special ability too. So all the special abilities are pretty awesome. The Infiltrator is the cloak. The Light Assault has the jump packs that you've seen. The Combat Medic can AE heal. The Engineer can drop deployable turrets and shields and stuff. And the Heavy Assault has a shield that he can put up. And then the Max charges. Currently, those are the ones that we have in game. We're going to supply more of those, and you're going to also have cert trees for those. So we're just going to continue to grow everything and have more options for players to choose from, and kind of, you know, even though they're a combat medic, maybe they want to be more assaulty, so they want to, you know, just fight to be able to heal if needed.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of customize that and still change yourself up to be whatever you want to play. So we're kind of trying to allow that still.
Yeah, certifications essentially allow you to go down whatever path you feel most comfortable with. And a good example that was made, actually, that you see there's an infiltrator for the Terran Republic, and he's not using that as a sniper at all. He's actually using it more as a kind of assassination spec. He's cloaking. This is not a perfect cloak, by the way. You can see this. It just requires you to be a little bit more observant.
And we'll have a variety of cloaks available to people too. Like we'll have ones where if you're moving really a lot, it's gonna show you really quickly. And we'll have, so it's more of a, you know, stand still, no one can see you, that kind of thing. So we'll give you guys options for that too, and that's all through certification and, you know, customizing your character.
Yeah, it really depends how it is that you want to play, and you'll be able to advance that at a fairly kind of granular rate. You can put in a cert point into pretty much anything. There is no limit to the number of cert points you can eventually acquire.
And I'd also like to note that we're just giving you more variety and more options. We're not giving you actual power. So you're never going to feel like, oh, I have 100% more power than the dude that just, you know, made a new character. So you'll always be balanced as far as that goes.
Welcome to nighttime, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a look at some lighting effects. We're going to be seeing quite a few of those. Nighttime in this game is certainly very meaningful. It's going to affect the way that you actually approach attacking various bases. That would, if he can actually hit it, I'll be impressed.
Got one hit.
Oh, very, very nice.
Nice.
Terran Republic marksmanship at its finest, as always. We only need about 20-30 bullets to do what the NC can do in 5.
It's true. The TR are very fast firing. That's their big thing.
Yeah, you'll even notice that inside the lighting does take effect. You know, it is nighttime. It even looks like it's nighttime indoors. There's a nice neon glow to a lot of the different facilities. The indoors of each facility are radically different. Indeed, I think the Biolab's probably the best example. This is an amp station, one of the various facility types available in the game. The Biolab is actually a giant geodome.
Oh, it's really awesome. It's like, when you just see that thing in the background, it's just beautiful. And then on top of that, when you get inside, it's very tropical, because it's where you know, they're basically making.
Yeah, it's an indoor forest. It's like what a future butterfly garden, I suppose, filled with nothing but violence
like
and glorious
jungle,
destruction.
But it's really awesome.
We're going to be heading outside here. Looks like he's going to be taking one of these energy elevators. Do you have a name for those yet?
I don't know if we've named them quite yet. We're definitely going to have one for
Looks
those.
like someone's going airborne now. This is what I wanted to see.
Yeah, one of them takes you up and one takes you down, so.
Check out that. Now that's something that most people haven't seen before.
Pretty.
This is a brand new HDR lighting engine that's just been put in.
Yeah, we're still working on a lot of this, and you know, we're going to continue to do that as well as, you know, making it fluid. so you don't have any lag and all that.
Oh yeah, obviously, this is still in alpha stage at the moment.
Ooh.
Not that you could really tell.
He's gonna get a good shot on him.
I love that. I don't think I'm going to get anything done once I start flying around at night.
I'm just gonna fly forever.
I don't see why not. I'll find a friendly cliff like that guy.
Oh, he got stuck. Definitely have to watch out if you're going underneath passes like that, so that you don't.
It's useful for
Like
dogfighting, certainly, although it can get a little bit risky, especially with the larger aircraft.
Well, I think a lot of these guys are just playing it for the first time, so you know they don't have spatial recognition of how big their vehicles are yet. But
Yeah, without
once
question.
you get that down, totally, you can pull off some crazy stuff like that.
We'll switch to the view of a new conglomerate Lightning driver. Each of the cockpits has actually been customized, so color-wise you do have faction-specific identification. I think that's something you will learn very rapidly when you start playing this game, to recognize not only by faction color but also by silhouette as to what each vehicle is. The faction-specific tanks particularly, you can very easily tell.
Most of them you can tell, so the VS are more sculpted, the NC have that very boxy look, and then the TR are more slim, you know, smooth. So you can definitely pick up on that. I mean, that's something that you grow as you play.
Yeah, and you'll do so very, very quickly. The biggest tank is the Terran Republic tank. Also happens to be the best tank, I might add. Although that is open to discussion. Our brave little Lightning, our paper tank he is going to make his way into the dangerous land of the key bindings menu.
Uh-oh. That's going to mess up. We have little pads there for everyone so that they know the key bindings. So,
Like, please don't break it.
so I'm sure if someone messes that up, people are going to hit buttons and be like, what's going on?
Facilities have a tendency to look rather awesome at night. They're very much lit up. There's not a lot of bland in this game, I've noticed. It is actually very colourful regardless of what time of day it is.
Yeah, I think that's something that we miss in a lot of games, especially FPS games, is color. You see a lot of gray and brown, and we bring a lot of that color out, so it's really nice.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's an eternal, perpetual war, and I have a feeling the soldiers have got a little bit tired of drab browns and greys, so it's all about faction loyalty, maintaining morale, so bright colours, which actually has historical significance if you think about it. That was the way that people used to fight.
I think the big thing too is that we're a massively multiplayer online game. So, you know, we're an MMO, we have a breathing world, it's a world that you can actually live in. It's not, you know, just a match that you're playing in. So I think that's a big thing for Planetside too. And I hope that you guys all enjoy it.
It's certainly looking an awful lot of fun. We'd like to remind people that you're not going to have to actually pay for this.
Yeah, it's free to play. We need to stress that. Definitely. It's a free to play game. So
Not many free-to-play games look like this. In alpha, I might add. It's going to look even better once this thing comes out.
that's the plan.
Indeed. Unless something goes horribly, horribly wrong.
I just love it. Look at all the explosions.
Yeah, and this is only with a few aircraft in the sky. You can see literally hundreds of aircraft, possibly even thousands of aircraft, and more often than not, it's when outfits and large groups of players decide to organize this kind of stuff when the game really comes into its own. You're going to be seeing large air forces, entire armadas of aircraft attacking a single facility in an organized fashion.
Yeah, organized outfits are going to be really cool to see. I mean, just imagine a huge column of tanks, a huge column of aircrafts, and then on top of that some galaxies filled with guys that are just dropping on a base. Like, just even that vision is pretty amazing. I mean, we had that in the original Planetside, but we're also going to have that in Planetside 2 on a huge scale. So remember, this is thousands of players on a single map.
Switch over right here to have a look at a Terran Republic
Of
Max.
course, you got to get all your TR.
It's got to be done. It's got to be done.
He's scoping for himself. That's what's going on.
I'm fairly sure that was somewhere in my contract. We get to show 80% TR footage, right? That's good. Unfortunately, he's going to take a little bit of a rest around the corner at the moment.
And as you can see right here, the TR own the facility on the left-hand side there, and they're actually in the lead.
Well, that's how I like to see it. That's certainly how I like to see it. If you own the facility, you have a fairly significant advantage. You have access to wall-mounted turrets, which can be used to gun down both aircraft and incoming vehicles and infantry. You also have access to spawning tubes, which will allow you to spawn directly inside the facility. So it has this attack, defense, siege kind of scenario going on with it.
Yeah, you have a forward barracks that you can spawn at, and that's a huge advantage, because that allows you to get to the battle quicker. And also note that this is only just one style of capture points. We're going to have a variety of those, so you're not always playing the same style of game. This is just a ticket style that we're showing you right now, and we'll have more than just that in the future.
Switch over and see if we can find ourselves a battle somewhere.
I
That
love the projectiles for the rocket.
That crate was looking at him funny.
Oh no, there was a guy. He ran away. He was like, Max.
Was he disguised as a crate?
No, he's right there. See him behind the... He ran back there.
All NC look alike to me.
There he is. Oh, and he died.
Well, that's
Well
unfortunate.
played.
Nicely done by the Vardu.
A
Gotta
lot
give
of
him
the
one.
maxes, since they move so slow, it's really
They're
good for you to kind of kite them around.
they're a pretty big target.
If you're really good at kiting them, they'll have a lot of trouble trying to kill you.
That is very true.
Just sniped the air.
Yeah, why not?
Oh, look at all the...
Yeah,
aircrafts
nice
in
views and
there.
contrails right there.
That's another thing, like our game is just, you just stand there and look at it, it's so pretty.
It is. It's not a bad looking game, all things considered, is it? In fact, it's actually a stellar looking game. You wonder what that was? That was actually a drop pod coming down. Squad spawn is available in this game. That's not something that was in Planetside 1. Planetside 1 had an interesting way of doing things where you actually got into what was called the heart shuttle, and you would all drop down onto a continent. The problem is you had to wait a long time for that. It was like
And you
waiting.
had to go to your sanctuary to do that.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, it was like waiting for a bus. It wasn't all that interesting.
Yeah, you had to wait there for 3 minutes, and then you got in it, and then you found your location that you wanted to drop at, and you dropped at it. And this squad pod spawning kind of is similar in the sense that you are still in a drop pod, but you're dropping down, and people can see that you're coming down.
Yeah, it's dangerous, potentially. You are a large flaming orange metal ball coming down through the sky, especially at night time. You're a bit of a target. You might want to watch out for that. Can be just a little bit risky.
Don't get left inside, or you probably will.
By the looks of it, I believe he's actually driving a Sunderer at the moment. He has probably 4 players in it. If you look to the right-hand side of the screen, you can see how many empty spots the Sunderer actually has. It's rather large.
Yeah, so you can get a little over a squad. You pile them all up in there, head off to your location.
Exactly.
Great way to go.
This is the kind of vehicle you want to drive right into a vehicle bay of an enemy base and
They're
just
super
disgorge its
tanky.
contents. Yeah, it can take the hits, it gets in there, and then an entire squad of soldiers jumps out of it and unleashes hell.
Yeah, and if you have some good gunners, they can put out some
They can,
damage
yeah.
also.
They're a pretty
Not
big
as
target.
powerful, but still.
They don't move so fast, but they're not too shabby. Looks like everyone's actually bailed out on him right there. Be able to switch over to a different view. I don't think that's going to go so well for him, honestly. I mean,
And as you can see, like, this is
for
different
effort.
UI than the other. We're going to have multiple UI options. So if you want a more centered UI, that's what this person's actually playing with right now.
Yeah.
And then we also have the normal, you know, MMO
yeah,
UI
the,
that you're used to.
yeah, the ability to customize opacity and scale and things like that.
This just centralizes stuff, which is nice.
Yeah. You do want to watch out for getting caught out in the open. The large-scale FPS, if you don't have a vehicle, you're going to be hoofing it for quite a while.
Yes.
And this is no exception, to say the least. Now, we're going to be cutting to player interviews kind of throughout this demonstration just to give you the impression of people that have actually played it live on the floor. So we're going to kick it on over to Adam Clegg, who's going to be talking to someone that's just got finished playing Planetside 2 here at E3.
Hello, I'm here with Steve. He just got done playing Planetside 2. Hi, Steve.
How are you?
Good. What faction did you just play?
I played Nuke Conglomerate.
Nice. Oh, that's 2 Nuke Conglomerate. How convenient. What was your favorite thing about playing today?
Definitely the coordination. You see a lot of teamwork in going for one specific point or pushing, dropping in together in a galaxy or something.
Cool. You told me that you played Planetside 1. What was your favorite thing about the first Planetside?
The galaxy drop.
Galaxy drops?
I ran with an outfit that we would pack 1 or 2 galaxies and all basically drop on the same back door for a base. And just
Awesome, awesome. Well, are you looking forward to playing Planetside 2?
extremely, extremely.
All right, well, make sure you get your beta key, all right?
I did.
Thank you very much. That was Steve.
We're going to switch back to the game screen. Oh, right when he died.
My
Awesome.
favorite thing,
When
yes,
you
dead
said it's
new
young.
conglomerate, as killed by Maverick, who was having some unfortunate times yesterday. He let's just say he doesn't really live up to his name when it comes to flight skills.
No, he was not having a good day.
No, it was not going so well for him. That, as you can see, is a rather large aircraft. We'll see if Maverick, or whoever this is actually gutsy enough to jump in. It looks like he's not. That is a Galaxy. They're a rather large target. They can be used to spawn. They can also be used to carry an entire squad of troops, which can be dropped from the air on top of any target they choose. That, on the other hand...
Looks like he's looking through our customization. So you can pull up various vehicles, and we'll have more vehicles, you know, as we go on. And here you can see that he can customize his weapons and choose what ones he wants. And that's for all of your weapons.
Yeah, it applies to every vehicle. It applies to every infantry loadout. You can pick what you feel is best. Whether you want a machine gun on the front of your quad bike, whether you want a rocket launcher on the front of your quad bike, it can be done. This is a very basic vehicle. It's very fast, but let's just say it doesn't interact well with landmines.
No, you will die.
No.
So you gotta watch out for those.
But they are actually quite dangerous, especially in packs. You can use these to hunt down tanks if you like.
I'd love to see that. Little hunters.
Yeah, you can do it. It's risky, but
They're
if you
super
take
maneuverable, so...
yeah, you can take down a large target as a pack if you so
You
desire.
just go in, get a good few hits, and then get out. You're gold.
He's feeling a little bit too lucky here. You're not going to
I
be
think he's
hitting any
just having fun
aircraft with this.
driving around.
I don't blame him. The quad bike is nice and fun. It's called the Flash. Savior of the universe.
He's gonna run over his friend,
Yeah, let's not do that.
and
Or yeah, the bane of the Flash is in fact the cactus. Something we didn't tell anyone that was playing this game. Cactus is horribly overpowered, needs to be nerfed immediately. And as you can see, he was able to pick from a variety of respawn points. For the purpose of this demonstration, we have a staging area. In the full game, you're going to have access to a lot of different respawn points, depending on what you have captured, depending on what, say if you have a Galaxy deployed somewhere, that can be used as a spawning point. If you have your squad members, you can spawn on them simply by using a drop pod. In this case, this area has just been designed so they can get right back into the fight nice and quickly.
yeah, we tried to make it so that people were only in this one area. Like, you'll actually have a lot more bases to take and
Without
a
question.
lot more area.
Yeah.
This is just a small demo area. Well, we kind of made it so that they can't go anywhere else, but the whole map's there.
Let's see if he can fly a Reaver.
I think he's just trying to learn
Or-
and get his...
Yeah, it can be dangerous. Needless to say, this is out of bounds simply for demonstration purposes.
That's what I was mentioning, because he was going off that way. I was figuring he's going to
Yep.
get to that
The
point.
flight mechanics are not for demonstration purposes.
No.
That's something you're going to have to master. All of the aircraft in this game are vertical takeoff and landing.
Well, it depends on the vehicle, too. Some vehicles will be a little easier to fly. They might not be as powerful. So, I mean, you'll just have to get used to it.
Yeah, it takes quite a bit of practice.
And the big thing, too, is different aircrafts for every faction also feel different, as well as their tanks. So, depending on your empire, you're going to have a completely different feel. And that goes for all your weapons also.
Well done, John Kimball. You are doing TR proud.
He's checking him out, too. It's like, who's this guy that killed me?
Yeah, you can do that. The kill cam, quote unquote, is more about giving information about what killed you. It's about giving feedback to you as to what you faced, how you lost, and how you can improve. It's something that's been integrated into a lot of MOBA games lately, for instance. The idea that you want to know, who is it that killed me? What items does he have? How did he do it? And how can I get better from that? It's not about giving you essentially map hacks to allow you to see where your opponent is.
Yeah, the main goal with that is it's a learning tool. We want players to be able to check it out, be able to, know what I died from and how I can improve
Rise
that.
to the
And sometimes
moment
it's
you
just
can
even like
prevail.
kind of the area in which you died to. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe I shouldn't go that way whenever I'm trying to go into that base, right?
Absolutely.
So,
And informing the players is kind of a big deal when it comes to what Planetside
yeah,
2
this
offers.
is nighttime because I know a few people are commenting in the stream.
Yeah, it's dark.
It's dark, yeah.
They don't mess around. This is just not a blue filter. This is dark.
We have flashlights also, and people could customize those and add those onto their weapons, but apparently they don't need them because no one's adding them.
They seem to be doing absolutely fine with them at the moment.
Yeah. They do help, but...
Svanu Trooper's doing rather well.
Oh no, he's reloading. Is he gonna live?
Yes.
Get a
Could
little
switch out to his
jetpack.
beamer pistol.
That was very good decision right there.
Yeah, that was actually a nice little maneuver there, using the maneuverability of the light assault class to hop up to the top. Unfortunately, it did make him just a little bit of a target.
And you can see right there, you see the horns on the top of the helmet. That's another customization, and the camo right there. So we're not only allowing you to customize your weapons, and like we've been talking about earlier, we're also going to allow you to change the color of your camo, and your outfit maybe might want to do that too. Like, we have some demo action, we show like some of our QA team, they're all dressed up the same. So, I mean, we're doing a lot of that kind of stuff also to cater to the community. And that's the great thing about Planetside 2. Planetside 2 is all about the community. It's an MMO, so we're building a community versus, you know, just a little match that you play and you don't really recognize anybody. I think the big thing for Planetside, and old fans, and they will definitely agree, is that you recognize your enemies. You're going to be like, hey, that Margaret guy is always killing me. I'm going to watch out for him.
Yeah,
you know?
and that plays into the whole idea of this faction animosity, which is designed in such a way to build the community, not to fracture it. Trash talk happens. That's the way that it is. But in this case, trash talk actually has just a little bit more meaning, because when you pick your faction, chances are you're going to stick with it, and you automatically hate the other two. And you get this series of experiences, I feel, a series of memories from the game. I always remember what happened with Planetside 1. Some of my best gaming experiences were in that because of the persistent nature of it. Because I remember these long fights and these grudges held, outfit versus
Interlink
outfit.
facilities.
Absolutely, like 6 hours on one facility, because why not? You know, holding out a facility against two factions
And that
attacking
epic feeling when you actually do and you're able to push out to the courtyard, you know, when you were almost getting, you know, completely taken over. So, I mean, that's the feeling that you get whenever you're playing a very strategic game.
Man, there's so many players doing fairly well. This guy actually knows what he's doing with a gun.
He likes knifing, too.
He does. He hasn't hit anything with it yet, so that's something you might
He's
want
gonna
to
hack
look
the terminal. As you can see right now, that's the progression for the hack. He can look around while he's hacking also. He just has to stay in that vicinity.
Yep, nice shot there by a new conglomerate heavy assault trooper. You see, it's nice and easy just to
switch his
jump
class right
into
there
it.
on the screen too. We
Yeah.
also have that ability, you know, you can switch your classes out right on the screen before you spawn.
Here we go. Now that is a view of the facility from the air.
Yeah,
He's
that
actually
looks
going to hot
cool.
drop in a max directly on top of his squad mates. Get him right back into the fight. He was fortunate that he wasn't spotted on that high ground position.
And as you can see that banner right there, that's who owns the base. So there's a bunch of banners throughout the base and you'll be able to, those things will switch whenever a different empire owns the base.
Max is an absolute terror indoors. It's
Yes.
a nightmare to deal
And
with.
he's got some pals too, so he's not alone.
Yeah, he's not messing around. He's taking quite a lot of fire from that new conglomerate trooper over to the side there. Surprisingly, he doesn't want to go in.
Yeah, I'm surprised he doesn't want to just go in there and
Yeah,
take
one-on-one, generally speaking, Max has a significant advantage against a normal soldier in an indoor environment. Although they are large targets, they're difficult to maneuver. You can still kill them with infantry weapons, though.
you
They're
got
just
Imminent
there you go.
success is all
They're
that
just
is
rather
needed.
difficult to do.
And
But
you
you
can't
cannot
hack-
hack terminals.
No, you cannot hack
can't
the
do that.
terminal. He's like,
How would you
"Whoa."
do it? You have no hands.
Hello?
Yeah, we'll be sure to make sure that they, you know, realize that when they go up to that, they can't.
Definitely worth a mention. You'll notice there in the background a deployable turret. This can be put down by the engineer class with the so-called ACE tool.
And the shield that you see right in front of there is going to change based on like who owns it. So if
Yeah.
it's a NC engineer that dropped it, it'll be blue.
Let's switch on back to the TR perspective.
Yes, the Maxes can melee. Someone was asking about that.
Yep.
That's one of the coolest things.
Now this guy isn't mucking around. So customization-wise, I think this guy's picked the ideal set of
Yeah,
weapons
he's
for
good.
here. He's actually on a rampage already. He has a dual cycler on each arm. These things are absolutely massive chain guns.
Yeah,
And they
he's a terrorizer.
Yeah, he has got
three
he's got the
kill
right
streak
set. Bear in mind that
Oh, and a
this
headshot.
yeah, this seems really powerful.
And he just got a heal too, so.
But bear this in mind that if you get caught out in the middle of
He
say
shot at his friend.
oh, I'm loving it. Yeah, he's just indiscriminate.
He's just killing everything.
So many bullets. In a situation with this, you've got two anti-infantry weapons. You're going to be absolutely worthless against aircraft. You're going to be worthless against vehicles. So, in an indoor position like this is where you want to be. But once again, you are a large target. You can be hit by rockets very easily. You can be taken out that way.
I'd like to also note that you see that engineer that's repairing him right now?
Yep.
Oh, that was earlier. Basically, we're allowing you to do a lot of teamwork. So a lot of these classes really help each other out. And the engineer is one of our support classes, so he was actually doing the right thing.
Spawning a turret, unfortunately taking a rocket for his trouble. Hopefully there you go, his teammate's actually going to take control of the turret here, and eventually that max unit for the new conglomerate goes down.
And for our team play, we also have squads and platoons, so you can group up your friends really easily and get into the battle. On top of that, we also have voice in-game, so we have a Vivox system, and that allows you to make your own channels. You know, you can password protect them if you want, but we're going to have a lot of channels. Right now, they're all chatting with each other, trying to organize stuff, so that's why you're seeing a lot of organized play right now. And this is just people, you know, coming up to the terminal and playing, so.
Absolutely. Please note that is not the only weapon you can have. You can have one different weapon on each arm. The Pounder is used as an anti-vehicle grenade launcher.
Yeah, so the big thing with the Maxes is we wanted you to be able to customize both weapons and change them. So you can, you know, have a flamethrower on one side and, you know, a cycler on the other. We want you to be able to customize and play to your style and liking.
Yep. Here's the thing. He's currently a max unit. You'll notice a really long deployment time for jumping back onto a squad mate. You can't simply keep doing that. You've got to be very careful. The thing is, you can revive in this game. If you are a medic, you can revive someone on the ground. Squad spawning is not designed to just get you right back into the fight even if you die. You've got to try and stay alive. You've got to have your teammates actually revive you, otherwise a long cooldown begins. So if you can't spawn on your squad, it's okay. There's other places you can go.
Yeah, the medics aren't doing their jobs really well.
They're not, no. That's something that people need to learn. It is a skill, without question. You know,
And you're vulnerable too when you're doing that.
Without
so,
question.
You know, you have your tool out, you're reviving someone. There's a lot of potential for you to get killed.
Yeah.
So having someone with you also is nice, so they can protect you while you're reviving your teammates.
yeah, another demonstration of a day to night, night to day, in fact, transition. This is sort of a dawn environment. It's not quite full daytime yet.
Yeah. Scythe action. That's what I want to see.
Nothing seems colossally overpowered. Perhaps we should nerf it. The Vanu do have a Vanu-specific aircraft now. It's
Yeah,
called the
each
Scythe.
faction actually does. So if you notice the Reaver and the Mosquito already, those are actually faction-specific now. So the Mosquito is the TR vehicle,
Yep.
or aircraft, and then the Reaver is the NCs.
Yeah, you might wonder why it suddenly became dark all of a sudden. That is because a command was used to turn it back to nighttime because more people want to experience the nighttime combat. So we are able to do that.
It is quite different because you don't get that in other games. So I think that's the big thing for
No,
a
you
lot
don't.
of players who are checking it out right now.
That is a
Oh
bonus.
yeah,
Oh,
I
here we go.
love the flamethrower. The flamethrower looks really awesome at night too.
It does, it really, really does. And the Vanu Sovereignty Max has a flamethrower, and I believe it's a Quasar on his left hand, but he was taken out there by, and you can see exactly what it's taken out by, a Scat Cannon
And
Falcon.
it shows by percentage of damage too.
Yeah,
so
it does.
There's a lot of data that we're putting into it, and we're going to continue to make those better and better as we, you know, progress throughout the development. Oh, and so you can see his customization right now. He has a camo on him. His little weapons.
Yeah, you can certainly see it there. He's going to join up with the squad. I'll at least give him the ability to automatically spawn and communicate. Now, Maxes can run at a fairly reasonable pace. Wow, we just saw a galaxy in flames up to the top there. Now, at the moment, you can, as a max unit, go into a vehicle. That's something you're considering not allowing in future on in the development, isn't it?
Yeah, we're probably not going to let Maxes drive a vehicle. I mean, it's a little overpowered because then he jumps out of it and he's also in this
Exactly.
huge max suit. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's your trade-off for being a max.
Yeah, we would just like to stress this is currently an alpha, even if it looks a little shinier than that. But that means that balanced decisions optimization in terms of who can drive in what, that's all subject to
And you
change.
have to remember, this is a free-to-play game. So this is a free-to-play MMO FPS.
Yes, take it back.
So,
A number of Vanu vehicles made their way inside the facility
Yes.
now, which is currently owned by the new conglomerate. Bail out of his mag rider and then get directly into his max, and you can use one of these energy elevators either to go up or down. It's a handy way of being able to maneuver around the facility. The facility also has so-called jump pads.
yep,
But
as
you
you
can
can
see right
right
there.
there. Yep.
Yeah,
He's
accessing one of
actually
those
going to
jump
go up
pads.
it, it looks like.
Yeah.
So you can actually see right there.
Yep, there you go. That'll actually give you a nice view of the base. Also tosses you across to the other side. So let's say there was a column of armor coming into the west of the base, and wall. You want to move your defenses there rapidly. The best way to do that is to use the jump pad. That'll rapidly get you from one side of the facility to the other, because the facilities are massive. They are the size of a FPS map, so you can't just get from one side to the other quickly.
We've also seen some really skilled play between going back and forth. So we've had some pretty awesome play on top of those towers with people, you know, getting on one and going away, and then someone chasing them. So that's
There
a
we
different.
have.
Well, there's your galaxy.
Hello. Yeah, that's what I like to see. You'll even notice there that the guns themselves have faction-specific sights on them.
And this is the side UI that
That was the
just saw.
Scythe. That was the Scythe. Scythe is currently one of the most difficult aircraft to fly. It essentially
I think
flies.
it's the easiest one out of all of them for me.
I always found it difficult when I was trying it out. Because it doesn't fly like an aircraft. It flies like a UFO, which
Yeah,
gives
I
it
like
ridiculous
it.
maneuverability.
I think that's the big thing too. Like, even us just playing it, you know, we have our own different styles. So for me, I actually found it to be a lot easier to fly.
Here we go. Scythe round 2, ladies and gentlemen. There we go.
All right, let's see if you can do this.
Yeah.
And as you can see, the UI is updating right there. I'll move this up a little bit so you guys can see it. I'll move it back down. But
Bailing
yeah.
out of the aircraft, generally not the best idea unless you have customized with an ejection seat, which is a customization option for aircraft, which allows you to simply bail out of the aircraft and drop harmlessly to the floor. He didn't have an ejector seat. That didn't go so well for him. I'm going to keep an eye on this guy and see if he decides to pick up a different vehicle. Maybe something with less wings.
I think he's gonna try and flash.
Oh dear, this is not going to end well.
Hopefully he doesn't make it into the rock like everyone else.
Let's see how he does. The Flash is extremely maneuverable, very fast vehicle. It's also very cheap, at least at the moment anyway.
It's very cheap, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also very fragile too. So you have to be
yes.
really, really careful with it.
You can explode very fast on this thing. If you've driven... He was a little bit fortunate there. He manages to dodge
get out
a
of
massive rocket barrage going in that general direction. I think it was half a galaxy that just flew itself into the facility.
And he just popped his ability, so you see this shiny green.
It's actually an
action
energy
going
shield,
on right
if I
now.
remember
This is
rightly.
because he's a heavy assault.
Yep. And there you can see in the aim down sights view that the sights do look very different depending on which faction you're playing. Varno's Sovereignty being the most futuristic faction have access to the most futuristic sights, but they still have access to the different kinds of sights that you would want. If you want an ACOG style or red dot or reflex style sight, you can have it.
And you also saw that blue camo that he was wearing too. That's another customization. So as you see, these people are just also trying out the different customizations, seeing, you know, what they like.
The new conglomerate right there with a nice
He got
red.
him.
There you go.
I wasn't expecting him to actually get that kill.
Yeah, he was lucky. We'll let him off with that.
And what you just saw right there was the shield regenerating. So after you've been out of combat for a little while, your shield will actually regenerate. The personal one that you have on.
Indeed. That gives you a good view of the size and part of the facility. He's going to try and make his way out of the window here. He may
Some
not
of
be
these
able to
windows
land
are
that.
actually really awesome. Like, I found some good spots. Like that window right there, so good. I use it all the time for my sniping.
hello.
Because you can get in a lot of those spaces, and then you can go back
Very
up on the top of
nice.
the building too.
Yeah, you can see the NC Trooper actually helping out his friends there to take down a Terran Republic Max that was terrorizing. It takes a lot of bullets to bring down a Max. These things are
You should
tough,
crouch.
and if you attract their attention, horrible things will happen to you. He was actually using 2 Quasars there. Those are anti-infantry weapons, heavy beam rifles. You will not last long in front of one of those. At the moment, you'll notice that the new conglomerate soldier is spawning inside of the facility. The reason that he's doing that is because the new conglomerate have this facility.
Yep, that's their forward barracks that we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
And what you see right there, actually, in his view, is a resupply terminal for vehicles.
Now he's making his way through to Point C here, which is currently owned by the Varnu Sovereignty. And he's found himself a Max. That is not where you want to
Should
be.
have tossed a grenade. Oh, and he was almost...
Oh, he did quite a lot of
almost there.
damage.
He could have thrown a grenade down.
Yeah, that Max had taken a lot of battle damage previously. Since the Varnu Sovereignty are doing rather well at the moment, I think we're going to switch back to the Varnu view, see what they have to say for themselves.
They really want to take over that base.
They really do. And I'm going to do it with... There we go.
See, you can see a little bit of the customization that this guy has on his weapon also. The desert camo. Different
Absolutely.
scope.
Sound is rather all-encompassing. It gets loud. That's what we like. I'm not entirely convinced by his choice of vehicle here. I think this might paint a bit of a target on his head.
Whoa.
That's one way of doing it, I
was
guess.
kind
That
of
works.
interesting. That was fancy.
Yeah, it does the job. In Planetside 1, you couldn't drive vehicles inside of buildings. In Planetside 2, if you can fit it in, it'll go. Actually makes it slightly less risky to use small vehicles like the Flash because you can drive it directly inside the base and then bail off before they get a chance to actually target you.
We actually saw someone driving that thing all the way up last time too.
Yeah, you can actually do that. Some of the best things that I remember about the original Planetside were some of the absurd situations you could get into with vehicles. Planetside 2 promises to be the same.
People spotting it all too. Like they can totally spot enemies with a Q and allow their other friends to.
Yeah, it looks like someone really needs to spot this Vanu. It's becoming a bit of a nightmare. It's in a good position. I'm very surprised that aircraft is still alive.
Yeah. Ooh.
Now that's a fancy
That
trick.
was nice, yeah. So this guy's an engineer, so he can deploy turrets, AI or AV turrets, or a shield that he puts on for his friends.
Certainly a handy thing to do to try and bring down that. How is it still alive? I'm very surprised it hasn't crashed into something. Obviously a skilled pilot over there. He's trying to chase it down.
He's just going down and taking a few kills and then getting out of there.
I think I saw his wing fly off in one direction, so it's not long for this world. The engineer has a hell of a lot of flexibility in terms of bringing down either infantry, vehicles, whatever you want. Let's switch over to a different view. Don't shoot that. That's friendly. That might not be. At the moment, the Vanu are doing a fairly reasonable job of capturing, but looks like the new conglomerate have managed to take back these capture points.
Just gonna get back up on the
Imminent
ridge up
success
here.
is
This is
all
such a
but
good view
assured.
too. Whenever you are looking down, you can see the whole battlefield almost.
So Galaxy dropship up to the
So
side
Margaret
there.
is over there too.
Failure is not
Shoot at it with his regular weapon.
Generally speaking, you don't use a Galaxy to chase down another aircraft, but we're okay with innovative tactics here.
Looks like someone left their mag rider.
That Mag Rider actually has green headlights. That is also a customization option, by the way. The game is free to play. It is entirely microtransaction driven, and a lot of that is going to be customization for your vehicles, for your troops.
Your weapons.
Very true. You will, of course, be able to accelerate the speed, much like many other free-to-play games, such as League of Legends. You'll be able to accelerate the speed at which you gather experience points.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to allow people to get more experience. We'll have XP boosts. We'll have various boosts for people.
But one way or the other, the buying power aspect is something that the game is actively trying to avoid, focusing more on the cosmetic.
Yeah, we're definitely trying to keep everything balanced. So a lot of what you're seeing is going to be just variety. So just a lot of choices for you to make in order to customize your characters however you want, without giving you, that huge power boost.
I think that people really value that. In a persistent game, making your character unique and not look like everyone else is such a big deal. If you've ever played any other MMO, you can see how people covet things like unique pets, armor sets, cosmetic items. Essentially the same thing. You don't see that so much in FPS, of course, usually because they're not persistent in this regard. But even then, if you've played any of the popular shooters, you'll notice different camos available,
enemy
dog
right
tags,
there.
and so on and so forth.
It's a max.
Oh, he's managed to get him from behind. That will help.
Ooh, he's almost down. I thought he was going to get the kill. That was close.
Sadly not. I think he was actually killed by his own friend there. That was unfortunate for him. And what we're going to do is take a very brief break while we actually swap out. Maggie, it's been a pleasure. We will be able to stream at the same time tomorrow, I believe.
Yep.
So that you will be seeing more of this.
And
I'll
we'll
be joined
back.
very shortly by Adam Clegg. So just take a couple of minutes, folks, and we will be right back.